go too far.
Ray, can you get that on the screen, please?
I guess I don't have page numbers, I apologize. So this is a request from Clark School District. They have a female swimmer that would like to join our swimming team that starts in August. Sue, do you have any specific?
Yeah, the reason I just wanted to look at discussion was I know this board has had a lot of discussions in the past with our athletic sharing agreements. I know we've been asked by several schools to engage in some, and we have in the past. There's been a lot of concern on the board, just a lot of different conversations that have happened. And the last time we had this conversation, we had asked if a rubric could be put together or some sort of guidelines to help our athletic department and our board to look at making sure we're really fair and consistent with who we're bringing on for these contracts. So I understand this contract starts August 5th, so it may be one that we need to pass now. But I would just encourage all of us to think about the other ones that aren't immediate and see if we can't really try to find a mainstream way of making these decisions instead of case and school by school and sport by sport.
I agree. Having a new AD and a new superintendent, I think it's probably the right time to put together a checklist that we can just go through so that we don't have any issues with not being fair to their own requests that come in.
And I do think, Sue, my recollection of the meeting was at least some of us were of the opinion to kind of let the athletic director make that recommendation. And I appreciate, the desire to have something that's consistent across sports and everything else, but I think the reality is the sports are very different. Swimming in this example, right, we've got low numbers, there's one class, and so, we're not going to have a one-size-fits-all across all sports, right?
Yeah, that's why I think we have to look at the big picture, because there was a sport this spring that was punished because of the class they got put into at Sub-State because of the other schools. And we didn't have low numbers, right? So that's what I'm saying, like a criteria. If we're at risk of losing a sport for our own students, then absolutely, what do we need to do to make sure that Indianola can participate in that sport? But I think they're just, I'm nervous we get in trouble if we say yes to this school, no to that school, yes to this school, no to that school, and don't really have a solid foundation as to why we're saying yes or no to those schools.
Well, I think what Matt said, I think it's a great time right now with Ryan being new and he has a different experience. He may have some additional comments and things.
Absolutely.
I agree with Eric, like this one's not going to affect class.
Correct.
It's one student, one participant. I think this is a good one to pass so that one student can participate in something that maybe he or she would not have. But to look at how do we make this fair and consistent across the board, at least when we're looking at what does it mean in basketball, what does it mean in wrestling, because the last thing we want to do is take away from our own students to have somebody else come in. But what does that look like and how do we do that? I think Ryan would have a great experience with that.
I did speak with Ryan today, and yeah, he's got some really good ideas. So obviously he's at baseball tonight, so give him a little bit of time to put some things together too. I think is a good idea.
Donna, Ryan, any input?
Yeah, making some form of consistency so discussion like that. This one's easy. Yeah. We gotta find a way to get this person here with August. I think it's a good idea to have that discussion.
Did you have a lot of people?
Well, I'm just,
request
so like if we get another request in the next week, 2 more requests in the next week for swimming, then we'll just approve them all. Okay, yeah, that's just what I'm trying to.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I know swim numbers were low, but I didn't
Correct.
know, I mean, obviously if someone's been a basketball team, you know, you might want more of a firm policy in place, but, yeah, okay.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the cooperative sharing agreement.
So moved.
Moved by Eric. Second by Ryan. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Chad, on the handout that you gave us, did you add that to the consent agenda, or do we need a separate?
I did add that to the consent agenda, and I put it at your spot now. If there's any of you that haven't seen that and want to have it be a separate item, let me know. It was just another fundraising request. I'd emailed it out.
Yeah.
Put it at your spot, make sure you had a chance to review it if you didn't.
Just want to make sure we didn't need to approve it separately. Next item is the consideration of the 2025 legislative priorities. Everyone should have gotten an email from Chad last week asking for you to go through and rank your top 5 priorities. I believe that there's still a couple people that need to do that.
Right, that we have not, we didn't hear from everybody, we heard from 5. And so if you look at your handout, I think your seats there, you can see that 3 out of the 5 have clearly identified 3 priorities, or 4 priorities there with 3 votes for them. We do have student achievement with a 2, and teacher recruitment and licensure with 2 votes out of the 5 again. So I don't know if you want to maybe choose one of those to go along with the other 4, or to submit 5 of them to the IASB for their legislative priorities.
Yeah, when I look at these priorities, I went back between those 2 teacher ones because I thought they were pretty similar, teacher professional, and that was retention, I think. And so when I think of retaining teachers, I also think that that is by their word of mouth, they help recruit. Does that make sense? So, I think student achievement.
In this situation, when they're talking about teacher recruitment and licensure, for example, this last legislative session, they did some unique things to allow people who have their BA to get into the field without actually having their licensure and to work towards that. And so I think that's what they're talking about with teacher recruitment and licensure. And then the other one is teacher professional development and retention.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's more about what do we do once we get them here to train them up and continue to train them and then keep them within the district and in the field.
I didn't get online until last Friday because they couldn't get me on. So I haven't filled this out yet. So do you want me to do it on here? You want me to do it online?
You just do it right now with all of us.
Right now?
Right
I'm
now.
gonna change all this.
Would you disagree with any that are already identified in those top 4 with that?
Yeah. I guess I'd want the student achievement one on there possibly, probably.
I think that's a good one to have.
Yeah, I mean, I would want that one on there.
The student achievement? Are you good with student achievement, special education, teacher professional development and retention, mental health and school
guess
safety?
Sure.
This is separate, that's two things.
The professional development, is that, and why is that? I mean, that's just a priority. This is an ongoing thing. We always have professional development. Is it something that is changing or is just?
I think at the state level, they just want focus, right? So sometimes it's about what is research-based. So when we're giving teachers professional development, what does it mean to be research-based? Right now, at the state level, we're looking at what are the criteria, what's the matrix? So when the AEA provides professional development, how do we make sure that it's in that research-based arena? So when you think about this is state level, not local. And so what is the state going to do in terms of professional development and retention efforts there? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, so I want to, yeah, put me on the student achievement. The others are all okay, but.
Good with those?
Rob, did you get your survey submitted?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I turned it in. Can you name them, what they're going to be?
Student achievement, special education, teacher professional development, mental health, and school safety.
I put mine in
Okay,
student sheet,
excellent.
too, my extra vote.
Excellent. Okay.
Vote on those, so we can submit those.
Motion to approve those 5.
I'll make the motion to approve those 5 as our 2025 legislative agenda.
Second.
Motion made by Sue, seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Consideration of additional student support staff resources. We talked quite a bit in our work session about what our need is for, specifically for our elementary schools, as well as an additional school resource officer. Mrs. Paul would like to, I guess, talk a little bit more about our recommendation towards the dean position before we go into the school resource officer position.
So you can see my recommendation there is just a pause, but what I really want to emphasize is that it is a pause. It's a pause just to take a breath and have further discussion. After watching the June 10th board meeting, sitting in on the special or the work session, it's my understanding or my feeling from an outsider that there's some missing information, some gaps in information that we just need to clarify. We just need to work through as a system so that we can truly come together as a whole team in this is what we need, this is why we need it, and that we're all on the same page to move forward. This is not a permanent, hey, we don't need this. Because I think there are, looking at the data, Sarah shared with me some more data today, that there's clearly a need. It's just what is that need and how do we best start to address it and work on, and I think Sue, you mentioned that whole systems approach to finding, and not putting just a Band-Aid on it, but finding a stopgap. Let's work on fixing the root cause and then building on that. So my recommendation is let's just put the brakes on, take a deep breath, have some more conversations at the building level, and then come back to the board with more information and a clearer understanding of why we need this and what it might look like. It might be the exact same recommendation, but maybe we have some more information, some more data to show that.
Any discussion?
Thank you for
That
saying
makes
that.
sense to me.
Would this be the time to just ask, because we are going ahead with the second behavioral strategist position, so where are we in that process? Still open for applications, or?
It's still open.
It's still open, okay.
Yeah. And thank you for saying that, because I did want to make that clarification too, that we would still look for another behavior strategist, and still that position that's been there since February. This is the additional one that came in June, and then the work session on the 25th. Just take a breath.
So you get input from teachers too as to what they think would be the most helpful when you do all these?
So I would work through the principals to gather that information from the teachers to see that.
Okay. Second part of that is the option to add an additional school resource officer that would primarily be focused on the middle school. We spoke at the work session, Officer Marshall has been offered that position tentative to us deciding to move forward. He is currently the DARE instructor for fifth grade students across the district. So there would be a little bit of time split.
And he would continue that role?
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
The cost to adding him as an SRO to the district, we pay 50% of his costs. That comes out to approximately $63,305. As far as funding,
That's total cost.
total cost to the district.
Okay, thanks.
As far as the funding piece goes, Chad has had an opportunity to kind of look through. We have the funding for that. This is something that has been very important, I guess, from my perspective. I definitely don't think that this is an end-all be-all fix, but I think we've all seen what Officer Hackett has been able to accomplish in the last few years that he's been in his role. And being able to have an officer with these kids essentially from fifth grade through high school, I think it's going to be a step in the right direction for not only school safety, but also the mental health piece.
Hey, Matt,
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve a second school resource officer and join the city in funding that.
I'll second.
Motion made by Rob, seconded by Sue. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right, moving on. Next item is the consideration to amend the year-round education calendar. As we know, next Wednesday, we have RAGBRAI coming through, and it's going to go right by Irving. So depending on what time they break into town and what time they get kicked out of town, might cause some concerns for operation of the school that day. In addition to that, there's ICC at that building, and the recommendation request from the ICC director would be to not have ICC at Irving that day either. In addition to Wednesday's request, we also have a request for that day to be replaced with school on Friday, March 14th. Early out that day or not? I'm trying to remember.
On the 14th?
Is that
We
right
norm-
before spring break? Is
Yeah.
that the Friday before spring
Yes.
break?
Yeah, we
And so
normally-
everybody's out, I think, early on that.
Is that usually an early out?
Day off.
Yeah, it is normally.
Yeah, early
But
out.
we'd only have to run one transportation route. It will align, so both schools are at the same dismissal time, correct?
On that Friday. Is that correct, Shelley?
I'm checking it.
I want to make sure that we don't have to run two routes.
Right.
Well, while they're checking that really quick, back to ICC at Irving. That's been communicated like to the families, or how do we do
Not
that?
yet, we're waiting
Okay.
for today and then we'll.
So do we just pick another building that they go to for that day, or it's, like, how does that?
Well, so the recommendation is coming from the director not to, because there's 70 kids
Yeah.
and we don't have room in the other buildings because they already have full students there. And so her recommendation is that we don't have it on that day, that we prorate it so the parents aren't paying for that day. And that we just communicate that we're not having.
Gotcha. Okay.
That day.
I had heard in my mind that we were moving it, and that's why I didn't know, but okay.
Ideally, that would be perfect, but we just don't have room for, I think she said there are 70 kids there. We just don't have room to put them in another building with space requirements. So.
We haven't had early out the last 3 years or
Okay.
already before.
So the Tuesday, November 26th is where I picked that up.
Yes.
Okay. So there would be a correction on the timing of dismissal on Tuesday, November 26th for year-round students, so that we're only running one transportation route instead of two. as it sits now, Tuesday, November 26th would be an early dismissal, where traditional didn't have that. So everybody's going to get out at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, well, traditional, we go through Wednesday this year for Thanksgiving. We had to switch the calendar.
Yes. But there would not be an early out for Irving on that Tuesday.
Oh, you have that as,
Right now,
gotcha.
right now, the early out is at 2.
So it's just.
But traditional would get out at the regular time, and so
Yes.
we'd have to run 2 routes. So this amendment is to not have an early out at year-round before break.
So that we don't have 2 bus routes in the afternoon.
Absolutely.
Correct.
That makes sense.
Yes, though, but, yeah.
And then they were
Okay.
supposed to have school on the March date, but.
They had the March
now
date
they weren't
off,
supposed to have school,
They weren't
but
supposed
now
to have
they
it.
will.
but now they
Yes.
will.
Yeah,
This
okay.
week,
Yep.
Yeah.
break.
And
That's
that,
fine.
and that recommendation came from Mr. Morse.
Yes. When we were having that conversation about how, should we do this, how do we do this? And then he pointed out, hey, well, we have that March 14th,
Yeah.
and then everybody will have the same spring break. Irving just won't get out on that Friday.
Yeah.
They'll go to school, and that's that July 24th, the Wednesday day.
Yeah, great.
Yep, that's right.
But you need a motion for that.
You need a motion for that.
Okay, one whole
Or-
motion.
Before starting that, we should use a public hearing in there, slip that in there.
Let's open the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak? Okay, close the public hearing. Now we can have a motion.
So just one motion.
Yeah, that's fine.
So we make a motion to consider the amendment to the 2024-25 year-round education calendar concerning Wednesday, July 24th.
Motion made by Sue,
Make that a motion to adopt and not
To
consider.
adopt. Okay. Okay.
seconded by Ryan. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Ray, how are we doing over there? Did you get all hooked up?
We've been streaming for a while.
Perfect. Next item is the approval of resolution to issue payments while the board is not in session. We do this every year. It's just a formality for the August meeting, or the July meeting, I apologize.
Motion to approve resolution.
Motion made by Ryan,
Second.
seconded by Donna. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Monthly financial report.
Included, I don't think there's really anything consequential. I did get that cash flow report. We got receipts updated, so you do see that more accurately for April. There's probably still a little bit of tweaking to do with May's receipts yet, so that may even be higher, but obviously you can see the trend is still above the last several years. Otherwise, entertain any questions you might have on financial reports.
All right, moving on to the Finance Committee report from June 18th. Rob and I were present at that meeting. We discussed some updated financing information regarding the timeline of a $15 million GEO bond. Just more information. We'll get more fine-tuned dates on that in the coming months. Went through the current and proposed facility rental fee schedule. That's going to continue to be looked over and probably reviewed again before it's brought to the full board. We discussed moving away from the PDF board packets and moving forward with the assembly management system, where we would be able to sign in and see updates as they're happening. We'd have a little bit more ability to kind of know what's going on before we get the packet. There's a lot of functions inside of that. We talked about it a little bit at the work session, I think, but really excited to be able to utilize that, hopefully this next month.
So, yep.
Yeah.
Is there full training that comes with that?
Well,
For people like myself?
I'd stuck it there on the board calendar. You might see that might ask you to come at 5 p.m. next month, just to get a little bit of a head start on learning it. So,
That would be, I will need some training.
Yeah.
Ray knows this.
yeah.
And we'll run it, we'll run them both,
We'll have both.
PDF and Schoology next month.
Okay,
And then,
But September, you're on your own.
I can do it. Do it. Save the trees.
And it should be an improved experience, not only for the board members, but also for the public, right?
Yeah.
More timely access.
Yeah. And we will be moving, for the public, we will be moving all of our policies from where they're housed on the website now into this new system so that they are searchable. It's going to make policies a whole lot easier to get to. So I think that's what I'm more excited about than the packet piece. But I think we'll also be able to, at some point, set up a ability for people to sign up through email if they want to receive the board packet when it's published. It'll come right to them so that they're not waiting to go to the website to be able to see whether or not it's been uploaded or not. So excited for all of that. The next committee meeting is tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. for anybody that would like to join. Any questions about Finance Committee meeting? Okay. We did not have a policy committee meeting last month, so we have the second reading of the May policies that had first reading last month. If anyone would like to make a motion for a second reading.
Motion to approve the board policies stated.
Motion made by Ryan,
Second?
seconded by Eric. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Next item is the board calendar. Like I said, tomorrow we have a Finance Committee meeting. Thursday is an HR Committee meeting.
We don't have anything unless you guys want to have it.
Mine with not being
I
here.
won't be there, Mac, at finance.
Okay, you available
You're
tomorrow?
not gonna drive back for
Okay.
it?
So.
I'm not.
Monday,
You
Tuesday.
guys, but I
Okay.
don't have anything.
Can I see the full calendar?
Next Tuesday, I believe that the 23rd is a Tuesday, is that right? Yes, because the 24th is Wednesday when Ragbright's going to be here.
Shelley, if you don't have anything for HR,
Yeah, no, let's just cancel it if we don't have anything. Yeah.
Is curriculum development.
So curriculum was to be on August 8th, but Sue had indicated she's not available then. We can hold it then, or we could move it to the 6th or 7th. Tara wouldn't be available on the 5th. But there's also, does it say boards facilities on August 6th?
Yes.
who's curriculum?
It's you, Ryan, and Rob.
So Rob would be the overlap, because he's on facilities.
On Tuesday.
If we did, I can do anything, I can do 5th, 6th, or 7th that week, I just can't do the 8th. So, Ryan, can you do the morning of the 7th? Rob, could you do the morning of August 7th?
I could do the 7th.
Thank you.
Yes.
Typically, that's my shaving day, but I'll skip.
August 7th, the Wednesday for the board curriculum.
They're not kidding you there.
Our next regular scheduled board meeting is Monday, the 12th. If everyone is available, I would like to propose that we move that to Tuesday, the 13th. I have a conflict. It's not necessarily unavoidable. I can make it work. If it doesn't work, to move it to Tuesday.
Are you, you're good
I'm good.
with that?
You good?
Okay. I'm good as
I'm kind of busy, but I'll try to.
Slide it in. You're back.
What, hey
Tuesday,
Mac, what are you guys saying?
Tuesday the 13th, would you be available to move the regular meeting to Tuesday instead of Monday?
Yeah, that's fine.
And are we doing a 5
As a 5
o'clock
5
start?
o'clock for training, yeah. That'd be nice.
Cabinet, does that work for everybody?
Possibly not for me because I have a standards-based grading parent training that evening.
That
but
sounds thrilling.
It is. Student achievement, let's go.
There you have it. She's good.
Do you have anything that night, Annette, that would need to be?
I'll probably just have the minutes from the board curriculum meeting, but the board reps can read through those. So.
So let's plan on doing the regular meeting in August on the 13th at 5 o'clock.
Right. I cannot do next Tuesday. I'm at Grinnell that day, all day,
I
so.
don't have anything at the moment.
Okay.
We're just continuing to work on the same projects we've been working on for a couple of months. They're not quite done yet. So.
I'll be around Thursday.
Meeting's canceled for now unless you guys want to do something. Cancel between now and then. I'll get you.
Ryan and Eric, Tara and I talked earlier tonight. Technically, we would have a policy meeting next Thursday. We would like to skip it
Okay.
and play catch-up on June and July between August and the rest of the year, so that we're not falling behind in our reviews. And obviously, it's not on the schedule, so you're not planning on being here, but just so you know kind of what the thought process was on that. Okay,
Hey Mac, I had a quick question.
absolutely.
Going back to the Indianola Marching Band fundraiser, why are we having students fundraise for a trailer and drumline equipment? And why is that not provided by the district?
It's a good question.
One I don't know the answer to.
Mr. Richardson just left about 5 minutes ago. Timing is awesome, Rob.
Well, I think that goes in conversation, just more conversation that has to be had across the realm in different areas.
I agree. Yeah.
What can the school help with, and what is fundraising? So like an example,
Mhm.
licensing fees for our show choir songs and our band songs. Right, why are the parents paying licensing, that's a weird word to say. Those fees, why are we paying some of that stuff? So it's a good point, Rob. I think there's probably some conversation that could be had around that stuff.
Rob, you can't see it, but Tara is diligently writing notes down.
I got you, Rob.
Oh.
And I don't know
I
if we
see the smoke
currently,
signal.
do we currently have a trailer? And this is an additional one?
We do.
I think what it.
I think it's
what it
to
talked about-
replace. It's
Go ahead,
to
Rob.
replace the current one at 21 years old.
Gotcha.
I'll find out.
Maybe they purchased the first one and they feel like they have to purchase the second one. I don't know.
The August agenda is attached. As always, if anybody has anything that they would like to discuss, please feel free to reach out. Other than that, our August meetings are always short. Motion made by Ryan,
Second.
seconded by Donna. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
But
Any opposed? Motion carries. Have a good night.
Bye, Rob.
Enjoy your
these.
vacation.
bye guys. Yeah, thanks guys. Bye.